My sister told me she was dating my fiancé. Yep, this is exactly what it sounds like. I, female 23, am engaged to my fiancé, Ethan, male 26, for the past 6 months. And we've been dating since my first year of college when I was 18 and he was 21. These past 5 years of dating have been amazing, and Ethan has always been the perfect gentleman and the best boyfriend. He's kind, takes me on dates, and has been showering me with gifts, especially since we got engaged. My parents met him 2 years after we started dating, but my sister Lucy, female 25, had never met him, as she lives in Australia. Last month, I had to go to Australia for work, as Ethan had a business deal to handle. I briefly considered telling him to stay with Lucy, but we're not on the best terms, so I didn't tell Ethan anything about Lucy living there. Ethan's trip was originally scheduled for 3 weeks, but he extended it by 2 weeks to get more work done, and I accepted it. After all, he'd been nothing short of perfect, and this was the least I could do. Ethan returned 2 months ago, and since then, he's been acting differently. He wanted to take me on more dates, buy me more things, but with my hectic work schedule, it was hard to keep up. He didn't take no for an answer. A week ago, we had a family gathering for my parents' 40th anniversary, and Lucy was there, which was a big deal since she didn't visit us often. I had already arrived when she came, but Ethan was still at work, so he arrived later. When Lucy met me, she was unusually excited to see me, but I entertained it. She couldn't stop talking about this amazing guy she had met, how happy she was, how handsome he was, and basically just praised him endlessly. Lucy's always been prettier and more popular than me, although she can be a bit crazy at times, so I wasn't too surprised to hear she'd been seeing a guy like that. When I asked her about the status of their relationship, she immediately became irritated and started rolling her eyes, going on about all the expensive gifts he'd been giving her. I asked where he was, and she said he lived in the US and had come to Australia for work. I asked how long he'd been there, and she said a bit more than a month. I thought it was strange, but I just nodded along, letting her gloat while I quietly felt uneasy. Things went south when Ethan finally arrived. When I opened the door for him, Lucy went wild, yelling his name, running up to him, and hugging him all over his face like some obsessive girlfriend. Ethan didn't react at all but clearly knew who she was. He glared at her and pulled her off him before walking towards me. At that point, I just left the party, furious and heartbroken. I changed the lock to my apartment, blocked him on all social media, and have been staying with a friend ever since. I can't believe it. I always thought Ethan and I were perfect for each other, but now I feel completely betrayed. I just left the party, and I'm so angry I can barely keep it together. I changed the locks to my apartment, blocked him on everything, and am currently staying with some friends. I can't even wrap my head around this. I always thought Ethan and I were perfect for each other, and after some digging, I found out my sister had been working at the same office as he had in Australia. Was it some kind of office fling? I don't even want to think about him anymore. I'm just devastated. Wow, this is beyond messed up, but it's also very strange. There's so much missing here. For one, I'm guessing you and your sister share the same last name, right? And if Ethan looked her up on social media, your picture would have come up, along with mutual friends or something like that. Now, let's assume the worst. He cheated on you with your sister. He went to Australia, got with her, and that was it. Why else would he show up at your parents' anniversary party knowing she'd be there? He must have known it would all blow up, right? This is assuming your sister didn't know Ethan was your boyfriend. I mean, if she met this amazing guy in Australia and they had a fling, wouldn't she have invited him to the party to meet you since she was coming to the US? Another possibility is that your sister knew exactly who Ethan was, that he was your fiancé, and they worked for the same company but in different locations. Maybe she's just trying to mess with you and is making up this whole story about him being her boyfriend. But there's a third possibility. They both knew who the other was to you, and they had an affair. Then, she told him she was going to pretend she didn't know him at your parents' anniversary party. But of course she didn't, and it all blew up in your face. I don't know. I'm not sure I can give you any advice, even though you're not asking for any. What do you all think? Which of these 3 possibilities do you think is closest to the truth? Or do you have another theory? Let me know in the comments. Now, let's see what the community had to say. Bluluatum says, "That's totally messed up. I'm so sorry. What an awful way to be cheated on. And what's worse is, if you dump him, he's just going to go to your sister with absolutely no consequences. He really deserves some serious karma for screwing over someone else." Up responds, "All my friends are on his side, trying to get him to explain himself. I'm reaching out to some of his colleagues to see what was really going on. But it feels pretty awful right now." No Questions 8961 says, "While it's possible he cheated, and that's certainly what Sarah wants you to think, maybe take a step back and take a deep breath. You don't have a good relationship with her, and she's been crazy in the past. She follows you on Instagram, where you have photos of you and your fiancé. She could have easily recognized him when he showed up at her office. Does her past behavior include making up lies or being manipulative, or seeking revenge for imagined wrongs? Maybe they cheated, or maybe she hit on him and got rejected. So now she's trying to hurt both of you. I think you need more information." Up responds, "She was pretty manipulative towards people, but nothing this extreme. She went to therapy for a while before going to Australia." Marian82 says, "If your sister has a history of being manipulative at times, could it be possible she imagined a relationship that wasn't there? Maybe she was pursuing him for a month, and when he showed up, she thought he was there for her and jumped on him. That would explain why she got upset when you asked about the status of her relationship, because there wasn't one. It could also explain why he became more romantic when he got back. He escaped someone hounding him and wanted to show you appreciation for it. However, if he was buying her things and actively participating, that's a different story." Op responds, "You make a really good point, but I don't know who to trust at this point. I guess she's always been jealous of anything I do, so this seems typical of her. But if that's not the case, I don't want to go back to Ethan." Additional information from Op's comments. "My sister and I follow each other on Instagram, and I have a few posts with him there. So now that I think about it, it's likely she knew he was my fiancé. But this feels so out of character for him that I'm in shock. I haven't talked to her since the anniversary party night, and frankly, I don't want to. Honestly, I could make a whole new post just about Lucy's antics. She's always been entitled, manipulative, and toxic towards everyone. Not just me, but nothing to the degree of trying to steal my boyfriend or fiancé. Also, I don't think they work for the same company. They just worked in the same office building, according to my research. Sorry if that wasn't clear before. When I saw his reaction, I thought it was because I was there, and I wouldn't want to hug a past fling in front of my fiancé. But I don't know if Ethan knew what Lucy looked like, or not, since we don't have a good relationship. My friends think I owe Ethan a chance to explain, considering Lucy's past behavior, but none of them know much about her except how traumatic my relationship with her has been. I've been staying at my friend's place, and my parents have reached out to check if I'm okay, but nothing more. They've called, and my cousins have texted, but no one has said anything about what happened after I left. I haven't responded to most of them." Op said it after some conversations in the comments. "We've figured out that since my sister follows me on Instagram and I've posted about my engagement there, she knew we were engaged. I'm not sure if Lucy and Ethan worked at the same company, just that they worked in the same office building. It's possible, but I don't have those details yet. Also, sorry if I wasn't clear before, but Ethan probably knows what Lucy looks like from childhood photos and what I've shown him on social media. She's also been a connection on his LinkedIn. I'm going to reach out to Lucy and ask her how she knows Ethan." The community seems divided between believing Ethan cheated or that Lucy is a psycho who chased him. Opie has shared some details that could support either theory in her extended comment. The original post was from 3 months ago, and we just got an update from yesterday. Let's see how the story unfolds. "Hi everyone. I just wanted to say thank you for all the support I've received from everyone who commented on my post. The general consensus was that I, 23 female, should talk to Ethan, 26 male. I did, and 3 months ago, we had a long conversation about what happened in Australia. ETH told me that Sarah somehow found out where he worked, started stalking him, and was telling his co-workers they were in a relationship, getting herself invited to outings with them, etc. John said her behavior was very disturbing, which is why he was so thrown off when he saw her here. He just didn't expect it. Honestly, I feel terrible. My fiancé was going through something I couldn't even imagine, and I shut him out for a week because of my own insecurities about my sister. I really do love him, but it feels like a hurdle we can't get past. Even though it's been 3 months, the guilt still weighs on me, and it's hard to accept that I was the one in the wrong. But it's true. Ethan and I took things a bit slower after that. We went on a break for a month and got back together a month and a half ago, but I don't know where we stand now. I've completely cut off Lucy and my parents from my life. Ethan encouraged me to do so because they were all so toxic. I'd like to think we're slowly rebuilding our relationship, but it's hard. I'm not going to lie. All in all, I'm heartbroken, and it feels like I've lost all the trust he had in me. I didn't think what I did was irrational at the time, but after talking with Ethan, I've realized I was in the wrong, and it's hard to admit that to myself. Ethan went on a few casual dates with a co-worker of his before we got back together, and honestly, I can't even bring myself to feel hurt about it. He's expressed before that it's lucky we're getting another chance, and I don't want to mess that up. We've been together for 5 years, and I don't want to throw everything away because of jealousy. I hope this post brings the closure. Wait a minute, Top. Hold on. I get cutting your sister out if she's toxic, but why your parents? Why did they deserve to be cut off? Also, what is a half date? Sounds to me like John is gaslighting you and manipulating you into cutting off the people closest to you, aside from your sister, because you've already said your relationship with her is toxic. Now he's positioning himself as the one giving you another chance, making you feel lucky. I don't like this, Op. It really seems like we'll be hearing another update from you in the future, so I'm going to keep an eye out. In the meantime, I hope you figure everything out and get the full story, so you can make the right decision.